Hey guys, how's it going? I'm here to talk about Much Ado About Nothing for ShakeTube 2017. So, this play, when I first looked up the plot summary of it, I really thought I would hate it. It sounded way too melodramatic and ludicrous for me. So this, for anybody who doesn't know, this play is about two couples, once again, like A Midsummer Night's Dream and The Merchant of Venice. The first being Benedict and Beatrice, who when they first meet can't stand each other. And then another couple, Claudio and Hero, who fall in love at first sight. Benedict and Beatrice end up falling in love after friends of theirs tell each of them that the other is in love with them, without the other knowing. But Claudio and Hero fall in love at first sight and are, at least for part of the play, driven apart by someone convincing Claudio that Hero had cheated on him by sleeping with this other man. So yeah, I just heard this plot and thought that sounds like something I would absolutely hate. If it were a modern movie, I probably would still hate it, but because it was Shakespeare, I actually ended up really loving it. Not only was it just a lot of fun, it actually, unlike A Midsummer Night's Dream and unlike The Merchant of Venice, I was able to find some very interesting, sort of deeper meanings in it, somewhat. Not to drive it home too much, but, like, I definitely did find some interesting points to analyze, and so first, to get to that, the scene I probably found most interesting in this entire play, I must show you Bessie first. She just came over to cuddle. But the scene I found most interesting in this play was when Benedict, just after Claudio and Don Pedro have said, in the presence of Benedict, when Benedict thought he was hidden, that Beatrice is in love with him. And he all of a sudden starts to create all of these attractive qualities in Beatrice that he hadn't seen before, and starts to, change his mind just because of this one piece of information. He even starts to interpret what she says to him differently when he talks to her right after that. And I just found that very interesting as someone who studies psychology, because, there are studies showing that when you when you describe someone to a person and then have that person meet the other person, that person you gave that description to will start to look for things that the other person says and does that support what you've just told them about that person. So their evaluation of that person will not necessarily be based on any kind of rational assessment of their character and the way they act and what they say, but on the qualities you've just told them. And so in the same way, when Benedict is told that Beatrice is in love with him, suddenly her, sarcastic comments become charming instead of annoying, and he starts to say that she's beautiful. And that's just fascinating to me, that, the professor in the one literature class I took in college said that Shakespeare was the greatest psychologist of all time. And as someone who studies psychology, I'm reluctant to agree, but I will definitely admit that he had a lot of fascinating insights. And that moves me to the next point, which is that a lot of this play is driven by deception and misunderstanding, and kind of the craziness that ensues from that. And as easy as it is for us to sit back and ridicule these people for being such idiots, a lot of what we do and a lot of the way our lives play out and what we say and think about other people is driven by misunderstandings. Misunderstandings probably more than deceit, as long as your friends aren't jerks. Hopefully you're not deceived too often by other people around you, but still, even that. The misunderstanding part struck me particularly because, I get this on YouTube comments especially, when I've commented and someone responds and the way they respond makes me worry that I somehow offended them, or when someone doesn't respond, I worry that what I said means I may have somehow annoyed them. And, you know, when you think about it, probably a lot of that is just anxiety anxiety-driven misunderstanding of something. But, you know, it's true. A lot of our lives are driven by that. And the other thing is, and this is the point that the guy who writes the essay in here, his name is Charles Church Jr., he writes about how a lot of the actions of the characters in this play are not based on reason, but on passions. You know, like Benedict in that scene I mentioned. You know, his sudden change of heart toward Beatrice is not because of any entirely rational assessment of her, but because of this thing he's been told. Or when Leonardo is told that Hero cheated on Claudio, and of course, the way that she cheated on Claudio was also by having premarital sex with another man, and so it's like double scandal. And Leonardo doesn't you know, ask Claudio any further questions. Doesn't ask who he found it out from, you know, how he knows this. He just all of a sudden is up in a rage and is disowning his daughter. And, you know, and so that's another psychological insight. A lot of our behavior is not driven by reason. It's driven by passions or by biases in our thought processes. So again, going back to this idea that Shakespeare is just a great psychologist, so, you know, those meanings may be read into the play, but they're still interesting. You know, and as just one last point, I have to say, Beatrice and Benedict are incredibly sarcastic throughout this play, and I loved that so much. I felt for it so much because, I don't know if this comes off at all in my videos, but I am incredibly sarcastic. Every other thing or so that I say when I'm with my friends is bound to be sarcastic. So I just really appreciated that and really enjoyed it. So, yeah, I do have a passage I'm going to read. It is the passage from when Benedict has just found out that Beatrice, or has just been told, well, no, they don't tell him directly. So Benedict overhears Don Pedro and Claudio saying that Beatrice is in love with Benedict. And Don Pedro and Claudio kind of staged that. They knew that Benedict was hiding and purposely wanted him to overhear them saying that Beatrice was in love with him. So this is the scene just after that. And it's kind of when Benedict starts to see Beatrice in a different light all of a sudden. So, here it goes. This can be no trick. The conference was sadly born. They have the truth of this from Hero. They seem to pity the lady. It seems her affections have their full bent. Love me? Why, it must be requited. I hear how I am censured. They say I will bear myself proudly if I perceive the love come from her. They say, too, that she will rather die than give any sign of affection. I did never think to marry. I must not seem proud. Happy are they that hear their detractions and can put them to mending. They say the lady is fair. 'Tis a truth. I can bear them witness. And virtuous. 'Tis so. I can reprove it. And wise. But for loving me. By my troth, it is no addition to her wit, nor no greater argument of her folly, for I will be horribly in love with her. I may chance have some odd quirks and remnants of wit broken on me, because I have railed so long against marriage. But doth not the appetite alter? A man loves the meat in his youth that he cannot endure in his age. Shall quips and sentences and these paper bullets of the brain awe a man from the career of his humor? No, the world must be peopled. When I said I would die a bachelor, I did not think I should live till I were married. So, yeah, you can see him suddenly, you know, he's seeing, all of a sudden saying that Beatrice is beautiful, when before I think he implied, or even maybe explicitly said, I don't think to her face, but I think he did say at one point that she, you know, wasn't particularly beautiful. You know, he interpreted her wit as just being annoying, and also, I think also said that he never wants to get married, and all of a sudden here he is talking about the importance of marriage and how the world must be peopled. That's what he means, or might be what he means. I don't know that. But anyway, sorry, not to overanalyze a single passage, but I did find that very interesting. So yeah, I think this was actually my favorite comedy that we've read, and I really want to read more Shakespeare's comedies. So yeah, anyway, thank you guys. For next week, we are doing Richard II, which I'm very excited about. I really enjoyed Richard III, and that gave me a very good impression of Shakespeare's history plays. So I'm excited to read more of those. So anyway, thank you guys. Bye.